Here we are back again with our series investigating the criminal conduct of Judge Walter Koprowski, New Jersey probate part, guardianship, chancery court judge, investigating the criminal misconduct, bribery charges against him. And the appellate case that we've been talking about is appellate case AM as in Mary dash 000791 10 T2, and the motion number was M-007-502-10, and that was conducted in Part U of the Appellate Division. And we're reading from part of that right now. The fees in the July 13, 2001 order statement should be stricken as misrepresentation, unreasonable, unauthorized, as a matter of law and fact, unconscionable, and constitute undue influence, bribery by court, conspiracy, and tax evasion. Again, this was taken from appellate documents that were filed with the Appellate Division, that's the New Jersey Superior Court. This is taken from a letter to Judge Walter Koprowski, and it's in reference to continuing violations of the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871. This letter was faxed to the judge today, September 18th, and we're going to read from part of it. Judge Patricia K. Costello has also been made aware. She's the New Jersey Superior Court Judge Patricia K. Costello. She's been told of the intimidation and threats of Judge Koprowski to stop next of kin from exercising his constitutional right to represent himself pro se in a court proceeding. And reading from this letter, as we say, fax today to the judge and to the other parties in the action and to the other attorneys, the continuing separate and unequal treatment by the court. And this is written to the Judge Koprowski. By continuously suggesting that pro se's get an attorney, you are giving tips or suggestions which are legally impermissible and mandate disqualification. Quote, trial judges must studiously avoid the appearance of favoring one party in a lawsuit and suggesting to counsel or a party how to proceed strategically constitutes a breach of this principle. Judge Walter Koprowski has repeatedly breached this principle, and repeated letters, numerous letters he has written to pro se litigants telling them to get an attorney, which of course implies that they would get better treatment if they had an attorney, and implies that they will get worse treatment by not having an attorney, and that their right to represent themselves will be obstructed, as this judge has continued to do. This is again to the judge. You have failed to be faithful to the law and maintain professional competence in it. You have failed to hear all proceedings fairly. You have failed to be impartial, and you have discriminated against next of kin due to socioeconomic status. You have failed to accord next of kin full right to be heard. You and staff members under your direction have failed to dispose promptly of the business of the court, waiting at times 8 months to over a year to notify next of kin as to the disposition of documents sent for filing. You have failed to give next of kin fair opportunity to address allegations for sanctions. You have continued to maintain an unlawful, separate, and unequal system that letters from attorneys will be filed with the court without question, and letters from pro se litigants and others will not be filed with the court. You have failed to address the letters of Vanessa D. Taylor, Shawnda Floyd, Lawrence N. Meyerson, James Boutelier that were sent to the court for filing as oppositions to motions or complaints that did not comply with the local rules of court. The California Constitution, as well as the New Jersey Constitution, provides for inalienable rights, including defending life and liberty and protecting property. Among these are enjoying and defending life and liberty, inquiring, possessing and protecting property. So this Judge Walter Koprowski has stood in violation of the rights of next of kin to possess property. He has denied next of kin's offers to purchase the property of the ward, while of course reserving fair treatment, or reserving favorable treatment to those who are attorneys and who are represented by attorneys, and trying to, of course, sell the property to an attorney by giving that attorney a $36,000 plus. It's not a set figure, it's a moving figure, a $36,000 plus inducement for that attorney to purchase the property in violation of the contract laws. In other words, this $36,000 was offered to this attorney, I believe his name is Salvio Figaro, offered to this attorney outside of the written real estate contract, which was presented to the court and approved by the judge. In another letter, this was actually taken from the January 13th, 2011 verified complaint, and this was the verified complaint that Lawrence N. Meyerson, Shawnda Navarro Floyd, Vanessa D. Taylor, James Boutelier filed no response or opposition to, and thus they admit the allegations as true. That defendant Meyerson's November 29th letter is non-compliant with the rules of professional conduct as stated herein. That defendant November 29th letter is vague and lacking in particularity and therefore burdensome to the court and plaintiff. That James Boutelier, by his December 10th affidavit and based on the response by next of kin dated December 19th, has made false statement of material fact, failed to disclose a material fact, and unlawfully obstructed by his December 10th affidavit next of kin's access to evidence and assisted others to keep next of kin from being advised about any matter or issue involving the ward's medical care, residence, and sale of property. And it must be noted here that the judge initially gave the pro se litigant next of kin very broad rights, almost the rights of full disclosure, which the next of kin is entitled to full disclosure from the beneficiary. And then something happened a couple months down the line, and the judge made these very indirect attempts to limit the next of kin's right to full disclosure by stating in a separate order that next of kin was only entitled to know of significant events affecting the ward. And again, this is in contradiction to case law, which states that next of kin are entitled to full disclosure. As beneficiaries, they're entitled to full disclosure. So this judge has a lot of problems. The names and addresses here, that would be helpful. Again, if you want to, we ask that you support the removal of Judge Walter Koprowski from the bench. He's in New Jersey. We ask that you support the removal of Vanessa D. Taylor as guardian, and we ask that you support we ask that every American citizen, every American support the removal of this judge and the disbarment of the attorneys involved in this matter for their misconduct and conspiracy and collusion. Lawrence N. Meyerson is one of the attorneys, and he's the attorney for Adult Protective Services. He works for Rubenstein, Meyerson, Fox, Manzanelli, and Concio NTE, 1 Paragon Drive, Suite 240, Montvale, New Jersey. Phone number 201-802-9201. Again, you're encouraged to express your displeasure over this situation and improper use of federal tax dollars by the judge and others. Express your dissatisfaction in any way you feel appropriate. James Boutelier works for Brandley, Klepper, O'Connor, and Boutelier, 13 Small Avenue, Caldwell, New Jersey. Phone 973-226-0526. Samuel H. Pica is the real estate broker working on this case. Again, it's Chancery Case CP 0136-2009 in the matter of Robert Johnson and Samuel Pica as the real estate broker at 256 Broad Street, the Prudential Pica, Bloomfield, New Jersey. Shawnda Floyd is the attorney for the Guardian. She's at 5 Buchanan Boulevard, Jackson, New Jersey, 732-489-1070. And of course, Vanessa D. Taylor, who's the Guardian, real estate and insurance agent, 35 Sims Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey. Phone number 732-577-6935. And that phone number is taken from her website, 732-577-6935. Again, we're asking for your support of removal of Vanessa D. Taylor as Guardian. The city prosecutor of Essex County has been asked to bring charges of criminal bribery, fraud, and extortion against the judge and others. And a letter to Judge Patricia Costello, and also to the Justice Department. Next of kin states, I ask that the Justice Department prohibit Judge Walter Koprowski from filing any further orders or judgment or communication with parties in the court unless he has express written permission from the Office of the United States Department of Justice, and until a thorough criminal investigation is conducted of all parties herein, especially the judge, Vanessa D. Taylor, Harry Taylor, Samuel Pica, Salvio Figaro, Attorney General Paula T. Dow. Furthermore, I ask that the judge be reprimanded for filing frivolous and retaliatory documents and pleadings. This was a letter written to Judge Patricia K. Costello, and the wording of it is based on letters that were previously written by Vanessa D. Taylor, Lawrence N. Meyerson, James Boutelier, and Shawnda N. Floyd. Letters which, of course, conspired to commit the criminal act of not complying with the local rules of court and asking for sanctions that were not done in the proper format, which is to give the 28-day notice to the person you're asking for sanctions against. Again, these letters were not pleadings, and apparently they were filed with the court. And if they were not filed with the court issued an order saying that it was basing its ruling on these letters that were received from the other parties, and at the same time prohibiting, in a separate and unequal treatment, prohibiting next of kin from getting response and getting fair treatment to his own letters and pleadings that were filed with the court. Again, we thank you for listening. Today is September 18th, 2011. We have not intended in any way to give anyone legal advice. We are simply relating a story, and we're talking about things that have been filed with the court as public documents. We're talking about the actions of public officials. And again, we ask for your support, and we thank you for listening.